The historical context of quipus was lightly discussed about in the first video of this series, but now that we understand what a typical quipu looks like, I think it's time to see how the structure has changed over time. There are only about a dozen complete or almost complete documented Wari quipus, along with some fragments. Even from this small sample size, we can tell that Wari quipus were very different from Inca-style quipus.
One feature that seems distinctive to Wari quipus is that of cord wrapping. The cords might be wrapped with different colors 20 times or more. Instead of the horizontal primary cord typical to Inca-style quipus, some Wari quipus have a loop and branch form, where the primary cord is a circle and pendants branch off.
The most standardized quipus are those from the Inca Empire. Most of the quipus discussed in this video series are either from that time period or later, but in the Inca style. During the colonial era, the usage became smaller scale and more local and more personal, such as confessional quipus and quipus used for herding. Quipus got smaller and the construction a little different, including more knot variation. The phonetic Collata quipus are also colonial. Modern quipus are even more diverse in form than colonial quipus. The Tupicocha quipus are examples of Inca-style modern quipus. According to Neri, a local who studied these quipus with his grandfather, they are internal IU documents, like a corporate policy. He believes that different bands are for things like produce, work days, called faenas. These unpaid community works are similar to the Inca mita, tax labor. Also, jobs and who was absent from community projects. A cord with hair from a cow's tail might be for a cow that belonged to the town. One interesting concept is that members of the community chipped in money to purchase things like animals, tools, and a large set of dishes to be used by community members. The people used the dishes at home throughout most of the year, but pulled them together for communal use during big festivals. Neri said that some cords represent cultivated fields, called chacra. The placement of the knots is not numerical place value, but rather a visual representation of a percentage of the field. For example, 2 knots would divide the cord and field into 3 parts. The thickness of those cords was associated with a type of crop, thicker cords for more superior crops, and an ending with the plies separated meant that the water was diverted. This type of chakra cord is like drawing on a quipu, much like a diagram on a piece of paper. Neri also said that the quipu could show information about family relationships, marriage, separation, etc., but did not explain in detail how this was shown. Also, when I went to a museum exhibit about Juanita, there was a quipu that was found with her in the mountain, and the quipu has the form of a mountain, and in the side is like a little doll that is supposed to symbolize where she was buried, or one of the other children, where they were buried on the mountain. This is another way that quipus were used as a way of drawing.
The Rapaz quipu is an extremely large quipu with small objects tied into the cords. Frank Salomon poses the question of whether the differences seen in the Tupicocha and Rapaz quipus are a deterioration of Inca standards, or maybe they're a continuation of regional cord traditions that predate the Incas. Type A are traditional Inca-style quipus with dependence on a primary cord, like the Tupicocha quipus. Type B do not have a primary cord. These quipus are one cord with one number. The type B quipus Mackie described were made from a length of 2-ply yarn that was doubled and knotted. The knot is the beginning. This is my version of a type B quipu. The 3 knots in the doubled part of the cord mean 300, and the 2 loose yarns are used as pendants. The 4 knots on the long part of the cord mean 40, and the single knot on the shorter part means 1. Type C quipus are a single cord with knots, like a pendant with no primary cord. Instead of using cord color to distinguish categories, some modern quipus use loops instead of knots, and as well as cord length. The funerary quipus of Cuspon and Marca in Peru are type C. They are a long single cord with knots representing the Hail Mary and Our Father prayers that are buried with the deceased. I couldn't find an image of the quipus used in Cuspon and Marca. This image is from an article by Sabine Hyland about how funerary quipus became popular during the COVID-19 pandemic. With what we've covered so far, it might be hard for you to think of a single cord being called a quipu. In the next video, I'll challenge your ideas even further of what a quipu is, with quipus that really aren't quipus.